in your opinion, what do you think is the state of masculinity and femininity in your perspective? You made a face.
Yeah, you know what? I don't think it's looking that good in modern Western society. Anyway, that's what I can speak on the most, because this is the that's what I'm a part of, and this is what I see. I don't think it's looking very good for us. I really don't. I feel as though we're sort of coming further and further away from what nature intended, in a way.
Okay.
For many different reasons. But yeah, I don't think it's looking that good for us. And I think the state of our relationships and the lack of connection that we have is a reflection of that.
So explain to me what you're saying nature intended and what is actually going on, in your opinion.
In my opinion, like, we are born, we're biologically, not obviously everybody in the world is on a spectrum of masculine and feminine. But when I say these things, please bear in mind, because a lot of people, when I talk about this stuff, they're like, oh, but some people, okay, yes, I know. What I'm trying to say is that the majority of us, the critical mass of human beings, male and female, we're kind of wired to operate in a way that it sort of matches the amount of masculine or feminine within us, whether that most people, they present as masculine, so they're going to be masculine energy dominant. Most people, not all. But anyway, if you're masculine energy dominant, the way that you're wired, the way that your brain works, the way that you perceive things in life is going to differ to somebody who's feminine energy dominant. So
how does that impact what's actually happening today? What do you see people actually doing instead?
I just think that we've kind of got, like, people have forgotten that. It's become like some sort of like pie in the sky, like a myth, like, oh, there's no such thing. Either that's one argument, there's no such thing. We're all trying to do the same thing and do it in the same way, which I think really ruins a lot of what is distinct and unique about the gifts that we each have. Masculine and feminine, we both are designed to contribute something different to an overall way of achieving anything. We're both meant to have something, but when we try and be in each other's lanes, I think this is where it's become like no one knows what they're doing.
Give me an idea of like what you have seen, because you coach women mostly, right? So excuse me? Only. Okay, so give me an idea of something that you see women doing that you think is stepping outside of their lane, that is hurting them.
Behaving like men, like when it comes to whether it's dating, whether it's the way that they approach life. I think this is where it's like, when you get down to the fundamentals of it, there's a masculine approach to achievement, there's a masculine approach to creation, and there's a feminine approach. So whether it's dating, for example, a woman going and I was just doing a live about this actually, a woman taking it upon herself to pursue a man is masculine. It's masculine. And if you are a masculine woman who wants to be in that role, do it, enjoy it, have fun. But my thing is, when you have that crossover or cognitive dissonance between a woman who's doing that but wanting a man who's masculine, people are forgetting that those things don't match. Like, it's fine to do it if you know the outcome, but it's like people keep putting tomato in the pot and wanting a carrot soup. It's like...
Wait, so when you're okay, I want to touch on something real quick. So in your mind, you're saying that a woman who is pursuing a man, what does it look like when a woman is pursuing a man? What does that even look like?
Not good, in my opinion.
No, meaning like what describe to me what it looks like from the outside, a woman pursuing a man. What does that look like?
It looks like a woman, well, on the very basic level, seeing a man and going up to him and approaching him and saying, I wanted to talk to you. I want to get to know you. So that is on a really basic level. But it also looks like women initiating like contact with a man, being the force that is driving the interaction. That's pursuing. Like, if you are the engine behind the interaction, you are pursuing. So whether that you could be it talking to try and talk to him, could be you planning or trying to push him to see you. It could be any number of things, but it's just about where the driving force in the pace of the interaction is coming from. And in my opinion, if you want a certain dynamic in your relationship, you want to be in your feminine. You can't be that engine driving it forward.
So basically you're saying that the idea of a woman being intentional about pursuing a guy in a similar way that a guy would pursue a woman is problematic. Now, do you see a lot of that happening? Like, is that really going on?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely going, like, a lot of dating coaches and things like that kind of say that kind of thing is a good way to go. And the thing is, it's okay. Listen, do that if you want, but don't do it if you want a certain dynamic within your relationship. That's what I want people to understand. There's a difference. Like, yeah, you might get a guy that way. Yeah, it might work, but the chances are it's not going to be the kind of man that you actually want. You might not be happy in that kind of relationship because you started it out taking up a masculine role. Well, so don't do it. You don't want to be in a relationship where you feel like you're in a masculine role.
Do you feel like there's a feminine way to get the right guy's attention?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, of course, like, at the end of the day, it's not to say that you can't, like, open up the door. You know, it's nice to, like, create some space, create an opening that would allow him to speak to you, you know? Like, it can be something as simple and easy as literally saying, excuse me, like, I'm kind of lost. Like, do you know the way to get to blah, blah, blah? Or, excuse me, do you have the time, please? You know? Like, you know what's
crazy? You know what's crazy? It's like, and this is me just with my ignorant brain speaking. You have a very strong British accent. So you're in the UK, right?
Yeah.
So when I hear you speak that way, if you think of any like traditional historic movie, right? There's like a British accent. Excuse me, madam. Excuse me. So I'm picturing like the Victorian times where women were like dropping their handkerchiefs. So like,
Victoria.
You're not at all. You are not. I'm just saying, like, you're speaking to an experience that a lot of people aren't having, but that a lot of people in previous generations had. So that's what comes to mind. So when you're talking about a woman making herself, you know, vulnerable in some sense, that's what used to happen. A woman would be like, oh, I dropped my handkerchief. Oh, please do kindly, so on and so forth. And a guy would be like, oh, why, ma'am? But I don't see a lot of women doing that today. Like that, it doesn't look that way. And I think a lot of women, I'll be honest with you, there's a population of women who might be offended to say that they have to exhibit this false sense of like vulnerability in order to get a man's attention. How do you feel about that?
I feel like crack on, honey. If what you're doing is working for you, crack on. The thing is, crack on. If it's working for you, excellent, keep going.
Okay.
But what I'm trying to say is that a lot of these women who say they're so offended are not getting the kind of men, they're not getting the attention of the kind of men and that they would like, and they're not being treated the way that they would like. So something's got to give here. Is it your pride that you're going to put to the side? Or are you going to keep continuing to attract men that think you've got it all and you don't need any help? So what's it going to be? What's more important?